Hey guys, it is really noisy outside, so the audio is not going to be great on this. Anyway, there are 100, if not thousands of reasons why an archer will get an injury. Some of these injuries will put you on the shelf for a few weeks, sometimes a few months. Sometimes it will stop you from picking up a bow altogether. A lot of these injuries are preventable. A lot of them are due to bad habits that we picked up. A lot of them are due to things that we don't do that we should do. And some are just stupid. So I want to go through some of the things that we can avoid and some of the exercises that particularly work for me in regards to building my archery strength and everything else. I'm not going to do a full workout because nobody wants to see that. I'm not going to go through squats. I'm going to lightly touch on push-ups, but for a particular reason. Again, this is just the multiple sources I had to go to when I was trying to build up my archery strength. I've not found a video that has them all in one spot, so hopefully that's what I'm going to do today. But before we get into that, there are things that you can just avoid because they're silly. First off is shooting a bow that's too strong. Now, I know at least 3 guys who have never picked up a bow before in their life, and yet they like the look of archery, they get into it, and the first bow that they order is a 70 or 80 pound bow. Okay, you could be strong enough to draw back that kind of bow, but if you don't regularly practice archery, if you don't regularly go shooting, you don't have the strength to keep that going, and it's just going to hurt you in the long run, sometimes not even the long run. I think compound bows are a little more guilty of this because there's the notion that a compound bow is easier. Speaking from experience, they are a lot more tricksy because they kind of lure you into this false sense of safety. So my first compound bow was about 50 pounds, 54 pounds, something like that. And I struggled to get it back, but when I had it back, it was easy. And I became complacent and very stupid, and the riser showed me how stupid I was. So yeah, while a recurve traditional bow is more physically demanding from the point of drawing back, compound bows can also be just as dangerous, if not more dangerous, because they lure you in with this false sense that you've got everything completely under control. If you struggle drawing it back, then put the bow down, get a weaker bow. There is nothing wrong with shooting a weak bow. I mean, let's face it, if you're practicing, then you need 30 pound bow. Nothing really wrong with that. Even today, you know, I've said multiple times and I stand by it, I think the Oneida is the best bow overall to have and to shoot. But I'm quite happy to take my little weak Timber Creek Mamba, that's 24 pounds, and take it up to my archery club and shoot that all day. Yeah, other people are shooting the newest Hoyt and Win and everything else, and they're hitting 60, 70, 80 meters, and I'm there at 40 with my Mamba. But I'm loving life because it's a beautiful bow and it's so much fun to shoot. There's nothing wrong with shooting a weak bow. Secondly, if you're in a situation where you are shooting this particular bow but you're getting that burning sensation in your arm, then drop the number of arrows. Typically when you're in a range, especially with other people, you'll be shooting 6 arrows at a time. Drop it down to 3. At no point is anyone going to judge you for shooting 3 arrows instead of 6. I mean, hell, when I take my arrows to test, so okay, probably recognize this from one of the other videos. This is an arrow I've made. Noisy people outside. I recently took this to my archery club There were 4 or 5 other people there. I shot a single arrow in a single set. So they're all shooting 6, I'm shooting 1, and then I'm waiting for them to be done, go pick up my arrow. Nothing gets said because no one cares. There's nothing wrong with dropping the arrows. So those are the 2 things, more than anything else, that we do fall into silly groups. And it's the most easily prevented things. Okay, onto the physical stuff. Oh, I love the physical stuff. There is an elastic band you can buy. I don't own it, sadly, but it's great for stretching out the muscles, because there's nothing quite like doing the thing to practice the thing, if that makes sense. Pro wrestlers, the best thing to exercise and practice pro wrestling is pro wrestling, not lifting dumbbells. So the best thing to practice and get all of your archery muscles engaged is archery. So this elastic band you can get is fantastic. But I don't have one, so you know. First off, stretches. Now, going into stretches, this is slightly more towards the younger lot, my age and younger than me, much younger than me, teens, early 20s. They don't necessarily start off with stretches. I've been as guilty as anyone else for that, but you know, let's face it, if you're going to run a marathon, you don't just get out the cab and start running. You do a load of stretches first. So just extending your arms. Oh, I can feel it in my shoulder already. But that's it, a few seconds. That's it, that's an easy stretch to do. You want to loosen up your shoulders. You want to get your back going. Then going into circles. Already, with the issues that I have with my shoulder, I can feel my left shoulder grinding and crunching. So yeah, you start small, go into big, then reverse it and go the other way. Then push-ups, but not full-on push-ups. Whereas normally your weight would be between your hands and your feet, your toes. Instead of resting on your toes, rest on your knees. It's not an exercise to build up the chest. I mean, let's face it. Just ask the Amazons how helpful a big chest is when it comes to archery. But doing that kind of push-up with most of the weight on your knees and your hands just loosens up your shoulders. That's it. That's all you want to do. You want them loose. You want them fairly relaxed, but obviously ready to take the strain. Okay, so now the fun bit. These are not heavy at all. I don't lift heavy. I think the only reason to lift heavy is if you want to get bigger, and given that I'm a short ass, if I hulked out, I'd look ridiculous. Just absolutely ridiculous. So these are 7, maybe 8. My phone says 7.5. First one, working on your back. Oh, back fully to focus. Right there. Tilt your head forward a little bit, otherwise you're going to crack yourself in the head, which is never good. Make sure the dumbbell comes right down behind your head, and then extend fully up. And repeat. Now, different muscles will do different things, but in medieval times, a fantastic archer would be a little bit deformed. One shoulder would be bigger than the other. We know better today. We know more now than we did a few thousand years ago, so we can keep things in balance. And it's much better to keep your muscle structure as balanced as possible. So that's the first one that works on the shoulders, which is fantastic. Typically, I'll then push into one of these, which, you know, it's not majorly important, but it does build up on the shoulder muscles as well. And given that I have an issue with my shoulder, it's kind of important. At this point, I probably should have mentioned before, actually, I'm not a fitness specialist. But with what I've gone into, with what I've researched, this is what works for me, and when I do all these things, this is what prevents injury for me. So while I'm doing these exercises, I will also do these stretches more or less throughout. So I've done a little bit on the shoulders, now it's the back. The back is very, very, very important. Anyone who's got back pain will tell you the back's probably the most important part of your body. If your back goes, you're done. Point blank, you're done. You can't work if your back's knackered, and you certainly can't shoot. Archery is predominantly back muscles. So this is a very nice exercise that I picked up a while ago. Got a sofa. You can't see it, but the dumbbell is down there. It's the same dumbbell as before. You want to get it so it lines up more or less there. Keep your back as straight as you possibly can, and then raise. These are very simple exercises. I don't particularly go on with a lot of weight. Wow, it's really hot. Done one side, go on to the other. Again, balance is very important when it comes to modern day archery. So that's it, sofa and a dumbbells, and you're good. At the same time, you want to work on other shoulder muscles as well, which I will get into, but as I've got the sofa and I don't have to necessarily work on anything else at the moment, triceps. The best one I've found, again, while I'm on the sofa, simple, easy. Now, it's not a massively important muscle when it comes to archery, but you know, archery isn't just one muscle. There's a lot of different things we should be looking at. There's a lot of different things we should keep in mind when we are shooting, and that's just one of the little extra ones that, for me, I've noticed when I focused on that particular muscle, it's helped me in the long run, and it's put off injuries, which is obviously what we want. Oh, it's so hot, so hot. Okay, I have 2 more exercises to do, and then I will finish up on the last couple of stretches. This next one is for shoulders, and then I will either go into the back or give a demonstration of what I meant by the push-ups, just because I'm here, I'm on the floor, and why not? Now, keep in mind, if you struggle with any of these exercises, just drop the weight significantly. You do not have to push yourself. I'm going typically until I feel the strain. And that's it. Pull back, feel the strain, back up. That's it. You won't turn into Stephen Amell with this workout. For me, again, this is just what helps for me. As I'm here, I might as well do the push-ups now. Now, okay, before we get into this, a full disclaimer. I will do stretches at the archery club, but I will only do this next one if I'm alone, because I know how much of a Burke I'm going to look. Alright, but it loosens up the shoulders. So if there are other people at the club, I won't be doing this. Pressure on the knees and hands, that's it. Then up and down. It's not strenuous, not at all, but it loosens up the shoulders. That's really all we want. Okay, so the last one, when it comes to building muscle, building archery muscle and archery strength, it can be replaced with a pull-up bar, but I don't have a pull-up bar here, and I have no intent of getting one, because every time I've had one in the past, it's done something to the property, to the doorway. Either it's knackered the paint, or one of 100 different things. And this is a nice flat, apart from the mess that I make, it's a nice flat, and I don't want to ruin it. So this is one of the things that I've picked up that kind of circumvent you needing a pull-up bar, and it helps. Okay. Inch. Okay, on the floor you can use a towel or a mat like this, arms extended as if you had a pull-up bar, and then push. Bucking weights everywhere. Okay. Wow, it's hot. Okay, so that one is probably the hardest for me. I don't particularly have a lot of strength in that motion because shoulder issues. I've avoided doing things like that really put emphasis on it. But that's a great one for shoulders and back. And shoulders and back is mostly where the archery power comes from. Okay. Again, not a fitness expert. I'm certainly not going to go into diets. At like 2 o'clock this morning, I cooked 2 of the juiciest, fattest burgers with mature cheddar and just So yeah, this is not a get fit video, but these are things that I've done that have helped me with my archery, that have made me feel a lot better and a lot stronger with my archery. They've helped me go from the weaker bows to being able to shoot war bows without much effort. I say much effort, it's still a bloody war bow, but still, it's the things like that. And when you've done all that, if you incorporate that into whatever kind of workout you want, whichever kind of workout you go for, again, just finishing on the same thing. You can do these stretches throughout. This is obviously the easiest one. Keeping the shoulders loose. And that's more or less it. That's what I do. Again, I've not found... Oh, that feels better. I've not found a video that covers all of these things. So I figured I'd make one. And I have. And it's done. If there's anything that that you guys do, that anything that you practice that you think helps with your particular archery, let me know, because as I said right at the start, an injury can end an archery, I don't want to say an archery life, that seems a bit too dramatic, but it can end your archery. And I want to be the old man at 90, providing I don't turn into a dragon at 82, who runs around the field dressed as Robin Hood with a bow and arrow scaring people. That's my dream, because no one's going to arrest a 90-year-old running around with a bow. That's where I want to get to. But, we have to avoid these injuries. The silly little things that we all do, they might not affect right now, but give it a few years and constantly doing them have a massive, massive negative effect. I want to avoid that. This is what I do to help avoid that. If you guys know of anything extra that I can be doing, anything extra that you think anyone else should be doing, let me know. Share it. Don't keep it to yourself. Also, Teespring, link down below. There's a lot of new shirts, a lot of new products coming out. I'm trying to add things as often as I can. I've ordered a very, very cool shirt. I don't know when it's going to get here, but that is coming and I'm really looking forward to that. Everything you buy from Teespring will go to Porchlight. Now, I couldn't set it up with the actual website, so it will come to me first, but I will put everything towards Porchlight. Every 24, 25 pounds that gets raised is a meal for people who are homeless. It's a toiletry box, and I believe £24 also covers a bed for the night. Homelessness in the UK is a massive issue, and it is only getting worse. I don't want to get too political, but government funding keeps getting cut and redistributed towards the top, while people who actually need this money are going without. So I'm not keeping any of this money at all. This does go directly to people who need it. Porchlight is a fantastic charity. They do a lot of fantastic work helping to get homeless people back onto their feet, get them back into homes, but they can only do so much without help. So either go to Porchlight directly or go to my Teespring and get an awesome t-shirt, an awesome hoodie, an awesome cup, pillow, wall hangings I think I have as well, beach towels. You get everything and you're helping charity. Okay, thanks, see you later.